We've talked about using writing a speech analysis, stuff like that. However, after having this writing the speech and analyzing all that, we have to, go to the next step, public speaking. Okay, public speaking is something that most people are kind of like nervous or anxious about. But we can relieve these feelings by regularly practicing our four essential skills: pronunciation, volume, inflection, and tempo. Okay, I know that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but everyone, before like giving a speech in the public, everyone are kind of like nervous about it, anxious about it. Some people will. I know that some people will feel confident. However, a lot. But before that, they will kind of like be nervous too, excited about it, be anxious about it, and we can relieve these feelings by practicing like some skills, some essential skills. So the first thing we have to be careful while giving a speech in public is that you have to pay attention to our pronunciation. Okay, it's not like in writing, so we can only. It's not like in writing where we will have to pay attention to our grammar, to our punctuation, our spelling. But when we're giving a speech, we have to pay attention to our pronunciation. We have to like say the word correctly. It is a skill that we can practice by focusing on like the consonant sound in words. Not only when we have to speak in public that we will practice, but saying the word correctly in like conversation every day, in like regular conversation, is also important because it is a skill that when we speak, people can understand it better because we are pronouncing it right. We can practice it every day by focusing on like the consonant sound in word and emphasizing them clearly in our speech or when we are speaking, not only when we're giving a speech but when we're speaking like normally too. Okay, so that's the first, pronunciation. We want to say them correctly. We don't want to say it like wrong and make people like misunderstood it. Like people won't get what we're saying because we're pronouncing it wrong. Okay, next thing that we have to be careful is our volume. This would refer to like how loudly or how softly we are speaking when we are delivering a speech. We don't want to when we're giving a speech, we don't want our volume to be too loud. If it's too loud, it sounds like we're yelling at them. It sounds like when we are grounding someone for something that they shouldn't do, or like we don't want to giving a speech like we need to be sure what we find. We don't want that, right? But also, some people can speak like because they're nervous and scared about giving a speech. They can speak it rather small. It's too soft. So when we giving a speech, we want to make our volume like normal, not too loud, not too soft, not loud like we need to be sure, not like yelling, or too soft that even people in the first row can't hear us. We need to be sure that we find a moderate volume for the space in which we deliver a speech so that the people in the first row and the people in the last row can hear, like in a classroom or an auditorium. We want like the last person in the audience can hear, the last row and the first row can hear too. We need to make sure that people in the back of the room can hear us, but we can't be so loud that people in the front will lose their hearing or at least be irritated by the speech. Okay, now inflection. This it's kind of like hard to understand, but it would refer to a more sophisticated public speaking skill where we kind of focus on using the correct tone of voice for the subject of the speech. For example, we will want to use the same tone in a graduation speech as we would use in a memorial service. We wouldn't want to like sound silly. A proper inflection also ensure that the audience hear the emphasis on the important point in our speech. So when we want to make our speech funny, we'll use a different tone. But when we want to make them formal, want to make them like sound like when people are being serious, our tone will be different, right? So that's another thing that we can practice. Of course, it's not like we have to do it right away, but we can practice using our pronunciation, right? Using like a moderated volumes and inflection. We can use different tone in our speech where it is correct. Don't use like the wrong inflection. Okay, the last thing we have to be careful while using is our tempo. Some people wouldn't think this is like important, but it is. We need to practice it too. This would refer like how quickly or how slowly we speak. It's kind of like volume, but in a different way. Like volume is where how loudly or how softly you're speaking, but tempo is how quickly or how slowly we are speaking. When we are nervous, for example, we tend to rush our words together until we relax into a more even tempo. Like we don't want giving a speech sounding like this refer to how quickly or slowly speak when we're nervous, for example. Okay, when we're speaking like that, people tend to like not gonna hear them. People not gonna understand them thoroughly because we're speaking too fast. But to improve this, we need to relax more, relax more so that when we're speaking, we can have a more even tone. We don't want our speech to sound too quickly. But some people can also speak like too slowly, as we did with the volume. We tend to like when we're rushing and then we're relaxing and into more even tempo, and then we did without with the volume. We want to pick a moderate tempo that is slow enough for people to hear, but of course not too slow because you don't want it to sound like the speech doesn't feel like it's more drawn out. Okay, it doesn't feel like it's more drawn out than it needs to be, because you see, if you're speaking too slow, we will tend to lose our audience, because you see, when we tend to lose our audience because like they get bored because we're speaking too slow. They didn't want to hear it anymore. It's too slow. So we want to speak like our tempo to be in like a moderate tempo that is slow enough for people to hear, but not too slow or not too fast. All of these skills can be practiced. We can practice a pronunciation every day by like reading more out loud, changing them, learning on Google and stuff. Our volume, we can practice by speaking them, by giving our speech in the mirror, or in front of your family or friend. Yeah. Inflection can do the same, like volume, and so is tempo. We can like practice them in front of the mirror, looking about at ourselves, or practicing them in front of our family and friend, asking them for like advice. But okay, how much practice is enough? Because like a lot of people have like a lot of people have like problem with it. Okay, there's no perfect answer to this question, but the length of the speech or our audience and the content of a speech are all factors that can determine how much practice is needed for this. However, while the amount of practice will vary, the test for how much practice is needed is the same. We should practice a speech until we have memorized the content. We are more, but maybe not like entirely comfortable with delivering the speech, and we can clearly pronounce and hear all the word in speech using an even tempo and proper inflection to emphasize key points. Okay, like I said, we can practice in front of a mirror, in front of our family and friend. However, another excellent way to test our preparation level for speech is just to put down our note, record our speech. Like, it's like practicing in front of a mirror, but instead of looking ourselves in the mirror all the time, we will like record our speech, and then like we're speaking to the audience, and then after that we listen to our recording. If we still need our note or the recording sound shaky or monotone, we can like practice more, and we just do that and do that. If you're like too afraid to practice them in front of family and friend, we can practice like that. Okay, so that is the end of our public speaking lesson, and I would like you to do like some question first. Okay, which of the following is a tip you should use when public speaking? Okay, you know that we have to practice, so don't practice before you speak. It's not right. But also, do not make any eye contact. Let's say we should make eye contact, but not like we should make eye contact to our audience, but if we do not make any eye contact, then it's kind of like we're speaking to our needs instead of our audience. So we would like to like making eye contact by looking at this person and that person, or you could just look at one person, that kind of like giving our speech to only one person mainly, because I know that doing that will kind of like boost our confidence more, because I have given our like public speaking. I have given like a speech before in public without any PowerPoint or any flashcard, any type thing, just myself standing in front of them. I just look at my best friend, and it kind of like boosts my confidence, and also it kind of loses the pressure, because it feel like we're only giving a speech to only one person and not like to the whole room. Okay, but we do need to emphasize the correct word with our inflection, right? We do need to practice do need to emphasize a pronunciation and our inflection. So yeah. Which of the following is a tip you should use when public speaking? Okay, remember that inflection make the audience forget important points. Remember that inflection make the audience dislike important point. Remember that inflection help them notice important point. Okay, we know that inflection are kind of like the tone that we use to give our speech, so that people will understand it more. You see, but not by using inflection will make people forget our important point, because you see, inflection is a tone, and it is like to point out the important points, to make the audience, make people notice the important points. So So inflection do not make the audience forget the important point or dislike the important point, but it will help point out, make the audience notice our important point. Okay? Thank you for coming and have a great day.